Welcome to the annual review workshop, annual planning and review workshop. A couple things that you're going to need. We're going to get started in about 90 seconds or so. We have a digital guide for you, so you can either choose a PDF or a Google Doc, or if you've got your favorite pen and notebook, you can also do this manually, analogly. I know that's not a word, but I just invented it. You can do this analogly if you'd like, just paper and pencil. Welcome everyone, it's so good to have you. It might be a good idea to sort of clear your space if you need. Get your calendars up or out if you use that. Welcome, welcome. As always, it's always nice to see where you are calling from, zooming in from, caving in from. If you can update your Zoom name with your location at the end of your name. So I haven't shared any documents yet. We're going to get to it. I know everyone's like, we got to get going. But if you can rename yourself with the directions there in the chat, if it's one of your first times, we put our locations at the end of our names. I think we're ready to start. Let's do this. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the annual review and planning workshop. I'm Jake. I'm one of the Caveday co-founders. And we do these kind of planning workshops all the time. We do weekly planning workshops every single week. We do monthly planning workshops every month. And here's our annual planning and review workshop that we're doing once a year. For those of you who don't know, Caveday leads workshops like this and daily, multiple times a day, focus sessions called Caves in service of improving your relationship to work. And part of that idea of improving your relationship to work is feeling better about how we spend our time. That's one part of this. And when we can feel like we're planning, when we're feeling like we're in control, that helps us feel better about how we're approaching our time and how we spend it. Now, there's lots of ways to plan your year. This is our version of it, and it tweaks and changes every year. So we're going to guide you through this in a minute. As I said in the very beginning, there's a Google Doc, there's a PDF, or if you want to just use pen and paper, you can use that. I want to share a quick story up at the top, just to sort of level set where we're coming from. There's a lot to do, but I want to not rush directly right into it. So in 2012, 10 years ago, I took a trip to Peru. I was going to spend a week to go to Machu Picchu, and I spent weeks and weeks. I had these Google Docs and spreadsheets and maps, and I was all ready to go with all of this research that I had done. And I got there, and like the worst thing that could ever happen to anyone on vacation happened to me, which is that there was no Wi-Fi. Haha, joke. And so I had all this research that was like sitting on my computer, sitting on my phone, and I couldn't access it. And so what I had to do was just kind of like live, right? Like go explore. And I had my train tickets and I had the directions printed out, but everything else I sort of had to just go do it. And what ended up happening is instead of like going to the best rated restaurant on Yelp, I ended up going to the restaurants that, the hostel owner told me to go to. And from there, the person at the restaurant, my waiter, told me to go to this bar that I would never have found otherwise. And I met this person and just had this really amazing experience because I was open to changing directions. I call it the swerve. It's this idea that we use that I use during travel, but it's also helpful to think about as we plan our year, which is to say, you can have action, but it doesn't have to be your final destination. You can say, look, if I am sort of not keeping my faith in my map in my phone, but sort of allowing myself to feel and change direction and say, I actually like this area. I'm going to actually abandon this plan because this actually feels better for me right now. I think that not only is appropriate, but will actually serve you better. All right. One last thing that I want to do before we go is I want to guide you through a grounding exercise. I want us to mentally go through the last year. So let's just do this together. Sit up straight, feet on the floor, And for 60 seconds, we're going to go through the last year. We're going to go through 2022. So if you want, you can close your eyes, but imagine yourself December 20th, 2021, a full year ago. Okay, you're entering 2022. It was our first full year of being in pandemic, right? Where were you last year? You had some big plans, and we entered January, and winter is here. You're thinking, what's coming up for the year? There's a lot of that new year energy. What were some of the highlights? Think about going into January and some of the things that you're already doing, not just planning, but executing and doing and seeing people. And how is your work changing? You go into March, and now we're thinking about, how are your feelings different? How is what you're interacting with people? How do you show up for people differently in March? And now April, springtime is here. Go into May. As we enter June and think about what we were doing at the beginning of last summer, who we were seeing, how we were spending our time, what was important to us 6 months ago. And now middle of the summer, maybe you were traveling, maybe you were heads down in work. Into August and September. And fall is here. The weather is starting to change. Into October, just a few months ago. And last month, in November, think about where you've come from since January. And then this past month, just a few weeks ago, where you were. All right, so we've mentally gone through the whole year. I want you to open your eyes if you close them. There's a lot to go through, and where I'm going to ask you to start is right here, caveday.org/annual review. Or you can just get paper and pen, but caveday.org/annual review. I'd like you to not skip ahead. Stay with me. The first thing we're going to do, now that you've thought through the year, is open this link, and you can choose on this link to either open up a Google Doc. It'll ask you to make a copy, or download a PDF where you can type right into the PDF. Either way, we're going to jump to this third page. The first page is the title. The second page is what to expect, which is we did some setup. We're going to review the year and then analyze, like, how did that go before we start to vision the next year and bring that vision to life with some definition. You can see the reminder there that it says direction over destination, right? That idea of swerve. We're going to choose a direction. We're heading into a place, but if 2020 taught you anything, it's that you can't plan a full year. Planning is impossible, but it's helpful to choose a destination. It gives us some agency in our life. We feel more in control over something. And I'm going to put 8 minutes on the clock. There we go. And I'm going to ask you to do those 10 things that went well and 10 things that fell short. Don't worry if you can't fill them all out, but I'm going to talk as we're going through this. So we're on page 3. 10 things that went well, 10 things that fell short this last year. We're going to review 2022. And it says it right there, but in case you're just doing this analogly, as my new word says, think about all areas of your life, things that went well, not just at work, not just financially, but maybe something about your mental health, maybe something in your relationships, something about your wellness and your spirituality and your mood. There's something about your environment that went well. Oh, thank you for that update. I see some notes here that I labeled them wrong, so you can change that for yourself, and I will update. Yeah, you can just update, but I will update that for anyone checking now. And the PDF labels both columns too. I see that. Well, this is my first time doing this. So the first list is 10 things that went well and 10 things that fell short. So apologies for the PDF that doubles your answers. I'm not sure how that happened. I'll try to fix that by the end of by the time that the recording comes out. It shouldn't work. The link is right here, in case you missed it, caveday.org/annual review. Thanks for your support, everyone. And in case there's any technical questions, Molly, my co-founder, is here to answer them as well. I also want to call out that this is not 10 wins. It doesn't have to be like a big win, just things that went well. I also included here a category to think about in terms of rest. We posted on Instagram yesterday the idea of keeping track of rest. Maybe you feel rested, or you had a restful month, or you got to take a few more naps than you expected this year, or sleep in, or go on a vacation. Yeah, I like this idea in the chat. Lily's sharing that just learning to do something, learning to prioritize rest is something that went well. Right? Things that worked or things that went well. This is just a period of review and reflection on the year so that we have a place to build from as we look ahead in the next couple exercises into the future. right, friends. Let's move on to the next activity. If you're still working, by all means, keep going. I'm just trying to move the train along. So the next activity is called the Wheel of Life. And the Wheel of Life, maybe you've seen before, is a circle divided into segments. So if you're doing this by hand, what you can do is create just a circle. And the next 3 pages will give you 3 options. So you can either choose 4 categories, 6 categories, or 8 categories. And what we're doing again now is to reflect on the last year and to think about 4, 6, or 8 categories. 4, 6, or 8 categories that you want to evaluate. So let's see. There's some options there. Some writing, leadership, family, spirituality, health. And all I want you to do is choose 4, 6, or 8, and then label each of the segments. What do you want to keep track of? What do you want to think about? What do you want to evaluate yourself on? And label them, and then fill out that segment. It's not going to be actually possible on digitally, but on your Google Doc, you'll see it's blank out of 10. So if there are 10 little circles in there, 1 is like not very fulfilled, and a 10 is like I feel very fulfilled in this area of my life. So take a moment. I'm going to actually just let's put 4 minutes on the clock. And we'll do that now. Fill out your Wheel of Life. You only have to fill out one of them, right? The next 3 pages are just options. So in the Google Doc, you'll note that it's listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you'll just write where it says 1, the category that you want to choose. The numbers on the wheel are just the label. So my wheel looks like family, business, adventure, home, career, fun, and learning. And each number is just one of the labels. And so in the Google Doc, you'll see it numbered, and then underneath the numbers, you can type out what they are. There will be a replay that we'll share if you have to go. What we're trying to do is just label the segments or the areas or the categories of our life. Still have about another minute left on the timer. But in case you're done, the next activity is to reflect on the wheel of life. It's to say, why was the most fulfilled segment your most? What were some of the things that make that the most fulfilled? Or what was the one that was really the lowest? Why was that the lowest? And this is your reminder that nobody is reading this but you. We're going to move on to that in about 30 seconds. All right, let's move on. In the next segment, it'll say reflect on your wheel of life, as I just said. You're going to sort of evaluate, and this is our point of analyzing. So a bunch of things happen. We feel a certain way about these categories in our life. And now let's take that and sort of judge ourselves. Let's analyze this. Why did this work? Why did this not work? What could have been better? What would have made it 10 out of 10 and why did it fall short? And this is something where only you know the answers to this, right? This is a very personal thing. And apologies again to the interactive PDF because each line is a separate input field. I meant for it to be one, but I'm seeing that doesn't work quite as well as I hoped. So anyway, reflect on that wheel of life because the next activity will start to be, okay, now that we know this about last year, when we know what we wanted, we know what worked, what didn't work, we can use that to inform our plan. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on and we'll jump into that. You can start moving your way to the next part of this, which is all right, now how does that analysis translate to a plan? Maybe some bullet points about things that now you're considering as you're looking ahead, some trends that you see emerging, a few bullet points that you might want to start to begin implementing in the coming year. Right, friends? This is the point of no return. No, this is the point where we move from reviewing the last year into thinking about the next year. And before I do that, I want to address one of the comments that came in here, that someone, you need more time for this. And I think that it's really a great observation that, like, in terms of planning your in terms of planning your year in an hour, that's kind of crazy that, like, we're going to take this hour and the whole rest of our year is going to be like figured out and mapped out and planned. I think more realistically, what we're doing is we're carving out some time for ourselves to feel better about getting a start on this plan, or having a structure for how to do this plan. And some of these questions and some of these activities I'm telling you to do in 5 minutes, and maybe we could do the really bad, rough first version. But maybe what you actually need is to revisit this tomorrow, in a couple days, to spend a little bit more time to actually work this out on your own. What I'm trying to do is create an experience in an hour where you feel like, I have a structure, and now you can maybe do this a little bit better on your own with more time after this. So don't feel like you need to have everything figured out and all the pieces fit together. Like, I have no idea what my next year will be like, but I think this structure helps me. So yes, take a deep breath. We're all here together. We're all trying to figure out life and feel like we're not falling behind and we're going to get run over by the hamster wheel. And like, we can control it and take a deep breath and step off and on as needed. So that said, let's have some fun. This next thing, this next page is what I'm calling the threes, visioning your year in threes. Should be a little bit fun. And so what you're going to do is take a few minutes. I think, what did I set for this? About 10 minutes to think about 3 things you want to do more of, to do less of, to do not any more of, to stop doing altogether. Then the next one is to do 3 questions that might guide your year. Like, how can I be a more involved parent and still have a great job? How can I, build better relationships in my community? What's a question that you can ask yourself that will, not that you can like answer in a day, but something that you can keep coming back to as your guide. And then the 3-word thesis is something that a friend of mine introduced me to. A thesis being just sort of like, this is the argument of the year. Like whenever you get to a challenging situation, you remember my thesis for the year was do hard things. My thesis for the year was try learning more, whatever it might be. Try a few, write a few, and then see what sticks. All right, so I'll give you 10 minutes for that, and we'll do visioning our year in 3. All right, we have about 30 more seconds, but in case you're struggling or not sure, everyone looks for a distraction when things get hard, right? That's what we've learned in Caveday. So especially the questions one, I think that's tripping some people up. There's some great examples here in the chat that for the purpose of the recording, I'm going to read them out loud. What do I want to explore spiritually? How can I build in more rest and fun without feeling guilty about not working? What's the balance between generating income and following passion? How do I inject play and freedom when I'm committed to work relationship in a positive way? How can I be a present parent and still love my job? How can I set better boundaries? Where are my people? Let's read a couple more. There's some great three-word theses here. I think that's how you say it. Feel free to share for the purpose of helping other people. Some great questions here. Who can I talk to? What movement can I do right now? How well rested can I be? Three-word theses are great here. Love, not shame. Just slow down. Open to life. Worry, don't resolve. Worry won't resolve. Love and bravery, lean into it. Enough is plenty. Give it away. These are so good. I can't get to all of them, but these are really fun and hopefully give you a sense of like what you want to focus on for the year, what you want to explore. I think this idea of sustained inquiry, this idea of having a question and not feeling like I need to answer it right away or that I can answer it right away in a sentence, but that this is something I'm going to come back to and explore in my conversations and in my journaling and in how I show up every day in the world is something that is a fun thing to think about. The next thing you'll see is actually a homework assignment for you. This is if we were in person and we had like 90 minutes in person, this is where I would have us go in breakout rooms or in like little one-on-ones and talk about the vision as if today were December 20th, 2023, right? A year from today, you'd say, today's December 20th, 2023. The last year has been wow. And then you would talk about the year as if it happened already. And the way that the reason we do that is because then our brain can actually needs to visualize, create concrete stories about what has happened, and it helps us bring that to life and make them actually happen. It's pretty magical when you like say, oh my God, this last year was great. I did this with my job and this with my home and this with my family and this with my friends. And when you say it out loud, just having that concrete example creates a picture in your brain that helps it make it feel more possible for yourself. And so this idea of future me, if you never have tried future me, I'm going to ask you to just like click the link to open up the tab so you don't forget it. But what you can do is send an email to yourself in the future. You can say 1 year from now, send myself this email, and you type it out and you click send, and then you forget about it. And then a year from now, you'll get it. And it's sort of this magical piece of a time capsule to say, man, December 20th, I'm here. I'm confused about the year. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I hope you did this. Thanks for sharing the link in the chat. We're not going to do it right now, just to be clear. That's homework for you for after. What I do want you to do is now we're going to take that rough, big picture, the blurry vision that we did with the three-word theses and the questions and the three things. And I'm going to ask you to define, like bring it to life a little bit more with definition. And so the next page is another wheel of life, but instead of looking back, I want you to look into the future, right? So for 2023, what are the areas that you want to focus on? And if you watched or read or saw our Instagram post from yesterday about measuring rest, the magic of this is like what we choose to focus on are the things that help, that get done. What we measure gets finished, gets accomplished because of that level of accountability and intentional focus. I think what Heather is sharing is more superstitious than like technical. Like the site is not going to derail your plans. She's got a superstition around it. She shares that something has derailed when she used it. So don't feel like that applies to everyone. I've had great experiences with it. I'm sure a lot of other people have. It's kind of a magical thing. So anyway, let's take about 3 or 4 minutes to define your wheel of life for 2023. And if you've already chosen your categories, you'll see that the next 2 pages, 2, 3 pages, 2 pages, are ways for you to put a little meat, metaphorical meat on those bones, which is to choose your topic and then define that topic in what would make that a 10. So on the next page, it'll say topic, what would make this a 10? So I might say my topic is family. What would make this a 10? Weekly calls with my parents and feeling great about the time, being present with my kids every day. And then maybe a goal or a habit or idea around supporting that. So, my goal would be call my parents every week, or do something with my kids scheduled every weekend or something. Something with that. I think you get it. You define the category, and where it says topic, you create sort of like an intention or a definition, what would make that category a 10. And then anything, a goal, a habit, an idea, a task that would support doing that. We're not doing future self to address the comments. We're doing the wheel of life. We're defining our next year. I'm going to actually put another 2 minutes to, let's go 3 minutes to continue defining some of those categories for yourself. All right, friends, we're getting close to the end. I know it's crazy how fast this time goes. What I want us to do is just to sort of summarize this. I know, again, I'm going to say it another time, that planning your year in an hour is not only impossible, but kind of dumb. Like planning, it's not going to happen in an hour. The idea is to, again, have a clear direction, clearer, have a little bit of a sense of a structure that we can continue to come back to, and a guide to do this. And we're happy to do that for you. And so to feel good about this experience, right, the wheels have been set in motion. To feel good about this experience, I don't want you to say like, oh, this was so stupid of me to show up. This is so stupid of Caveday to leave. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I do want us to feel good about this experience because I think it's really meaningful to have this kind of structure and feeling of control and intention. So I want you to go to the summary, the vision summary, which is to just take like 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see, how much time? Yeah, we have 2 minutes to just fill out that summary page and see what comes up for you in just having this there. I see some great chats coming in that are about booking caves to do a lot of these, spending a little bit more time in the next 2 weeks to do some of these activities with a little bit less rush. A great insight is that you need more planning time built into the next year. That's a great insight. Sorry, I'll shut up. You can do your summary, and I'll come back in 90 seconds. All right, I know that's not even enough time, not even close. And I don't mean to end this in a way that has you feeling overwhelmed or like there's lots to do. This is a structure that you can continue to come back to, that you can continue to work on. I wanted to give you again the destination, sorry, the direction over the destination, giving you direction to get your way there, to think about the swerve and the intention. What before we go, I had a couple people and ask for this, and I think the experience itself has been so nice to see the questions and 3-word theses that are coming through. If you can chat them directly to me, and I'll save the chat and I'll put it in a Google Doc, and we'll share that Google Doc as a follow-up. We won't attribute any names to them, but as a place of inspiration to sort of share and explore this together, because one of the best parts about Caveday is this idea that we're doing our work individually, but we get inspiration and accountability from everyone. The community helps make our work better. If you have never been a member of Caveday, please look out for our membership offers coming on starting on Monday. If you're a member, we also have upgrade options also starting on Monday. So you'll see that end of the year promotions starting next week for the next 2 weeks. I hope to see you in the cave. Again, we do workshops like this every week, every month, and even more often. We've got great events in service of improving your relationship to work and helping you feel better about your time. Again, I'm Jake. I'm one of the Caveday co-founders. I love all of these messages coming in. You have no idea what you're in store for in this follow-up email. It's so magical. Thank you for being a part of this and showing up for me and for each other and for yourself today. We'll see you in the cave soon. Have a great end of your year, and we'll see you more in the new year.